a very special event, the inaugural webinar of the MSOSA Leadership Webinar Series. This is being delivered by a very special person, our very own Shiv Khera, class of 1967, Modern School, Barakhamba Road. Shiv had addressed the morning assembly at Modern School almost 2 decades ago. It was a full house with the students listening to him with rapt attention. Today, we have all the 5 Modern School communities represented on this online session. Students, staff, parents. We also have members of BOT, along with principals, headmistresses, and not to forget, Modernites from all over the world. I welcome you all. One thing I can assure you, you will remember this session for the rest of your life. We are entering a post-pandemic era where new normals are being defined. It is time to turn setbacks into comebacks. There is no better person to show us the way than Shiv Khera. Now a brief introduction. Shiv was born in Dhanbad in a business-oriented family that operated coal mines, which were eventually nationalized by the Indian government. He graduated from Modern School in 1967 and went on to do his college education from SRCC, Delhi University. Shiv is an author, educator, business consultant, and a motivational speaker, best known for his book, You Can Win, which is an international bestseller and has sold over 4 million copies in 21 languages. Over 8 million copies of his books have been sold globally. He inspires and encourages individuals to realize their full potential. He has taken his dynamic messages to opposite sides of the globe, from US to Singapore. His clients include Lufthansa, HP, DHL, HSBC, Canon, Nestle, and many others. Shiv is the brand ambassador of Roundtable Foundation. He has been honored by Lions International, Rotary International, and he is an early recipient of the MSOSA Excellence Award. His trademark is, winners don't do different things, they do things differently. Shiv's session will be followed by Q&A, where the editor of MSOSA Sandesh, Arunima Malik, will ask the 3 award-winning questions on behalf of all of us. The vote of thanks will be delivered by the Secretary, MSOSA, Puneet Raman. But before I hand over to Shiv, I request you all to switch off your mobile phones for the next 90 minutes. Putting it on silent mode is not enough. There is something I want to share with you. Shiv injured his arm last week. Any other person would have called off the webinar, but not Shiv. He represents the never say die spirit of a modernite. I'm delighted to see him on the screen. With those words, I hand over to Shiv. Thank you very much. Shiv, it's all yours.
All right. Sundar, thank you for the nice words. I'm grateful indeed. I didn't know the things that you said I did. You know more about me than I do, I guess. It's always a pleasure to come back to Modern School and to Modernites. I think we owe a lot to our schools where we are today. All right, folks. This topic that we've taken on is turn setback into comeback, is because in my own life, I've had 3 major setbacks, Sundar, where I went into a minus in my life. And what helped me come back is really what I'm going to talk about tonight, number 1. Number 2, folks, I'm not that educated. My academics are, I'm a BCom 3rd division, I failed in my 10th. So that's my academics. But I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working. Now, I didn't create them, Puneet. I inherited them. And from being a mine owner, we literally came on the street. Now, street means street. Some people had money, our family did not. because my father had died when I was just about finishing college. We were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was just married 4 weeks then. And I remember a year later, my daughter was born, and I sold some of the last pieces of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. Folks, I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US. Initially went to Toronto and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. For about a year and a half, I was washing cars on the street. And totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance, which I think was the best thing that could have happened to me in my life. But interestingly, within 90 days, my manager called me right back to fire me for non-performance. Folks, from this point onwards, what changed? I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. And that was one of the turning points in my life. And I went back to my manager and I said, "But give me one more shot. And thereafter, I started writing $1 million policies, moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, folks, this is my last 46 years of my life. Now, going forward, folks, this pandemic has literally taken over the entire world. And because of that, there is so much of uncertainty because, Sundar, nobody has all the answers and there is no finish line. Nobody knows what is the finish line. So nobody's got the answers as of now so far. And which is causing a lot of uncertainty, and the uncertainty is causing a lot of insecurity. And the insecurity is causing anxiety, stress, frustration, depression, and even anger in some people. Now, folks, all I can say is all stress is not bad. In fact, stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress, Puneet, they belong to the lunatic asylum. You see, the athlete at the Olympics, is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not, there's no way he can perform. The only example, Rouhani, I can think of, which sits right here is, have you seen at the race course, the thoroughbreds, when they are being taken into the cabin, are they walking relaxed casually? Answer is no. They're jumping like this. You know why? They're under very heavy stress. Folks, and they're put into the cabin, and the moment the bell rings, guess what happens? Bang! They shoot and they perform. Now, folks, that's a thoroughbred. But if you take a jackass to the race course, this jackass is walking so relaxed, so comfortably, so cool. He is not jumping up and down like the thoroughbreds. But then, for the rest of his life, he will remain a jackass. And he will never perform like a thoroughbred. Now, Sundar, this is very crucial. Remember, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. I repeat one more time. You headed many companies, Sundar. Stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. True? Okay. Now, all of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle, Rouhani, is chronic stress. Are you with me? All of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. Now, think about it. how come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? I repeat, how come under the same set of circumstances, Puneet, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? All I want to say is, let us not overrate this crisis, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. I repeat one more time. Let us not overrate this crisis, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. Now, folks, this crisis has impacted us three ways. One, it has impacted our life. Two, it has impacted our livelihood. And three, it has impacted our lifestyle. Now, how has it impacted our life? Puneet, what we do and where we go and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. Yes, no? Okay. I repeat, what we do, where we go, and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. That's one. Number two, all over the world, there have been either job cuts, salary cuts, somewhere, even the governments are going broke. Many places, things have changed drastically. Now, I noticed one thing. Every few years, there is a new buzzword that comes up. 5, 6 years ago, the new buzzword, startup. So Sundar, everybody was starting up. Then the new buzzword came, make in India, make in India. So everybody is making in India now. But now the new buzzword is work from home. Work from home. Now, folks, interestingly, maybe in some industries you can work from home in the IT. But Sundar, tell me, how can you work from home in a construction industry? Can you? How can you work from home in a manufacturing industry? Can you, Puneet? Answer is no. Now, interestingly, I had a banker visit me the other day, and I asked him, I said, you people are paying salaries to your staff. Are you getting the output? Rohani, I asked them, are you getting the output? Can you justify the salaries? Now, hear what this man said. He said, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies. 20% people are responsible. They are mature enough who can work without supervision. But 80% people, they're not mature enough. They still need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, they still need supervision. And people who are not mature, they think working from home is a paid vacation. It is not a paid vacation. Are you with me? It is not a paid vacation. But sadly, that is what many immature people think. Okay, now I remember one thing very distinctly. While I was selling life insurance, I was on 100% commission. If I didn't sell, I wouldn't get any money, and I had no money. But in my company, Sundar, I saw there were some people who were getting salaries, but they were not doing their job. And that is where, Puneet, I learned the difference between making money versus earning money. Making money is criminal. Earning money is spiritual. Ruhani, are you with me? I repeat, making money is criminal. Earning money is spiritual. What's the difference? When you earn it, you put your energy and ethics behind it. Are you with me? You put your energy and ethics behind it. And sadly today, most people want to make money, very few want to earn money. And that is where I understood that wages without work amounts to stealing. I repeat, wages without work amounts to stealing. Now, There was a survey conducted by Gallup in the US. This was before the pandemic. And it said that 63% of people who go to work, they're disengaged. Means they don't do their job. An additional 24% are actively disengaged. You know what it means? They make sure that others also don't do their job. That leaves only 13% of people who go to work actually do work. This is a global survey by Gallup. You can go check at Google. Only 13% of people, Sundar, who go to work actually do work. Let me ask you, is this not an integrity issue? Hello? Are you with me?
Yeah.
Folks, is this not a big, big, big integrity issue? It's a huge integrity issue. Now, Mercedes is a client of ours. One of the senior executives of Mercedes wrote in that in the future, our competitors will not be automobile manufacturers. Our competitors will be Amazon and the Googles. They will be the competitors to Mercedes. How do you like that? And I wrote an article which I'm sending to New York Times for publication. And I'll be happy, Sundar, to send you a copy of it, which says, with the speed of change, the way things are happening today, Puneet, products are getting obsolete the day they're getting launched. Are you with me? And knowledge is getting obsolete within 2 to 3 years. Go check out engineering graduates. By the time they get to the 4th year, what they learned the first year became obsolete. Check out medical graduates. By the time they get to the 4th and the 5th year, what they learned the first year became obsolete. Now, Rouhani, with this kind of a scenario, either we have a great opportunity for those who are prepared, or we are in deep, deep trouble. And considering that, it has literally become a cliche. The only constant is change. So, I repeat, with this scenario, either we have a great opportunity for those who are prepared. But when we say for those who are prepared, tell me, Rouhani, how do you prepare for the unknown? When you don't know what's coming, how do you prepare for it? Not possible. So I wrote an article, is there anything else other than change that is constant? And if there is, let us master the constants. So I wrote an article that going to the future, the only people who will succeed in life are those who master 3 skills. So now hear this, who will master 3 skills that are constant. 1, people skills. 2, persuasion skills. 3, prioritizing skills. They have never changed. They will never change. Folks, why do I say people skills? Go check out all over the world. We don't have business problems. We have people problems. And when we take care of our people problems, most of our business problems are automatically resolved. Are you with me? 2, all over the world, we are hired for our skills, but we are fired for our behavior. Are you with me? Go check out our parents, their parents, their parents. This has not changed, Sundar. It will never change. And go check out the lower a person is in life, 90% of the time goes in technical skills, less than 10% people skills. And higher you go up, guess what happens, Puneet? It just
reverses.
Reverses. Thank you, sir. It just reverses. You see, technology and technicians you can always buy with money. But the wealthiest person in the world must build and create relationships. So no matter what is coming, if you master 3 skills, people skills, persuasion skills, prioritizing skills, man, it doesn't matter what's coming. Who cares? You will always be at the top. Are you with me? This will never change. It has never changed. Okay. Now, folks, we have this little quote title which says, winners don't do different things, they do things
differently.
Now, many times people ask me, what do they do differently? And my answer is, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. I repeat, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. And what are the things losers don't like to do? They're the same things winners don't like to do either, but they do it anyway. See, Puneet, losers don't like to get up in the morning. Winners don't like to get up in the morning either, but they get up anyway. See, losers don't like to work hard. Well, honey, winners don't like to work hard either, but they work hard anyway. See, winners form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. See, why am I saying this? Because if we have to think to do the right thing, we can never do it right. It must come automatic. It must come automatic. And you see, as we were growing up, if you recall, our parents said one thing: form good habits and habits form character. Sundar, are you with me? Form good habits and habits form characters. Because 90% of our behavior is habitual. We don't think, we just act. And if we have positive habits, we are a positive character. And if we have negative habits, we are a negative character. And good habits are hard to come by, but they're easy to live with. And bad habits come easy, but they're hard to live with. And before we got the habits got us. Are you with me? Hello? Before we got the habit has got us. Now, you see, how many times have you heard people talking like this? That this person is just lucky. Every time he touches dirt becomes gold, and this guy is just unlucky. Every time he touches gold becomes dirt. Have you heard that, Ruhani? People talking like this? Now, there is truth in it. You know what is the truth? Analyze the person we call lucky. Every time he touches dirt becomes gold. Analyze their life, analyze every transaction in the life, and you will find the positive behavior has become habitual. Every time they do it right, it happens right because the reflexes move right. And the person we call unlucky, every time he touches gold becomes dirt. Check out their life, every transaction in their life, and you'll find the negative behavior has become habitual. Every time they do it wrong. It happens wrong because the reflexes are moving wrong. Folks, you heard this phrase which says, practice makes perfect. Have you heard that? How many believe it's true? Give me a thumbs up. Do you believe it's true? Puneet? Ruhani, do you believe it's true? Sundar? Okay, all of you gave me the wrong answer. All of you gave me the wrong answer. Incorrect answer. Folks, hear this, I'm not playing on words. Practice does not make perfect. Practice only makes permanent whatever you practice. Remember, only perfect practice makes perfect. Some people keep practicing the mistakes and they become perfect in making mistakes. I'm not playing on words. Let me share with you an example. In martial art, you notice when these young kids start learning martial art, they get the white belt, yellow belt, orange belt, green belt, purple belt, brown belt, and the black belt. 5 years later, even after they got the black belt, they are practicing the same thing. And what is it? Block punch, block punch, block punch, block punch, block punch. Why? Puneet, the teacher wants to get the block and punch into reflex action. Why? Because the teacher realizes that if a student is ever in a street fight, if he has to think to block and punch, guess what will happen? He'll get beaten up. A martial arts student never has to think to block and punch. And when these kids start, they hit hard. At that time, the teacher said, son, go slow, go slow. First, learn the form right, learn the form. If you have speed and your form is incorrect, you'll fracture your own hands. And they say again and again, go slow. Practice does not make perfect. Practice only makes permanent whatever you practice. If you don't practice right, man, that is what will become permanent. Sundar, hear this carefully. We took a client with a Swiss collaboration as a consulting client. And this guy called me and he said, Mr. Khera, can you do some sales training for our people? I said, give me a couple of days, let me check your people out, which I did. And I called this guy and I said, sir, your people don't need sales training. They need basic training in courtesy, etiquette, manners, integrity. So what? I said, yeah. I said, they need basic training in courtesy, etiquette, manners, integrity. He said, what does that mean? I said, many of your salespeople have appointments. They're running late. And they don't even have the courtesy to call and say, I'm sorry, I'm running late. Are you with me? They don't have, and time to call is when? Before you got late or after you got late? And then they walk in late. They don't even have the courtesy to say, I'm sorry, I kept you waiting. And then, in case they call, Puneet, hear this, in case they call, you know what they say? I'm stuck in traffic. Now, don't get me wrong. Traffic has become a real issue all over the world. But many times, they leave only 5 minutes before the appointment. And they blame it on, Rani, they blame it on traffic. They don't have the guts and integrity to say, I'm sorry, I did start late. They don't have the guts and integrity to say, I'm sorry, I apologize, I did start late. And we learned one thing, only the first lie is difficult. Sundar, only the first lie is difficult. Second becomes easier, third becomes easier, fourth becomes easier, and fifth becomes easier, and sixth becomes. And very soon, you are dealing with a chronic liar who is a bloody rascal. Are you with me? And if this is the starting point in life, hear this, if this is the starting point in life, tell me, how long will it last? How long will it last? And tell me, what is this guy practicing? Telling lies. You know something, many times people say, this is a little lie, when the big one comes, I'll tell the truth. You practice enough little lies in life, when the big one comes, what happens? You end up telling a big lie. Are you with me, Puneet? And many times people say, this is a little thing, when the big one comes, I'll show courage. You practice cowardice, enough little things in life, when the big one comes, what happens? You end up being a big coward. Hear this carefully. If there's one take home tonight, remember, practice does not make perfect. Practice only makes permanent whatever we practice. And remember one thing, people who lie also steal. Ruhani, are you with me? That's right. I'll show you when I said practice, if it must become reflex action. If we have to think to do the right thing, we can never do it right. Check out all over the world. The defense services, do you know 70% of the career in defense services goes into simulation of warfare? What is simulation? They play war games as if there's a real war going on right now. You know why? Because they want to get into the reflex action. Why? Because they realize when there's a real war, if they have to think to fight a war, do you think they can fight a war? Answer is never. I repeat one more time. Folks, why am I sharing all this? If we have to think to do the right thing, we can never do it right. We must bring all positive behavior into reflex action. Are you with me, Puneet? Yep. Okay. Now, just like to share one more thing with you. You see, winners always put in that extra effort even when it hurts. I repeat, winners always put in that extra effort even when it hurts. Folks, who was the legend in martial art? Sundar, do you recall who was the legend in martial art so far? Take a name.
Well, Bruce Lee is well
Thank you,
known.
sir. Bruce Lee. Now, you know the name Bruce Lee because he was a legend. That is true. But tell me, are you aware that Bruce Lee's one leg was shorter than the other by 1 inch? Are you aware of that?
No.
Did you know that, Ronnie? His one leg was shorter than the other by 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. You know something, 1 mm, 2 mm, 3 mm can disalign a person. 1 inch. And Bruce Lee's eyesight was -10. You people don't know that, but you only know he was a legend. And Bruce Lee practiced 5,000 punches per day. And I've written my new book, You Can Achieve More, where it says, Bruce Lee said, I'm not afraid of a person who knows 10,000 ways how to kick. He said, I'm afraid of a person who knows only one way, but he's practiced at 10,000 times. He's dangerous. Are you with me? That's the guy. Now tell me, Ruhani, was Bruce Lee an exception? Yes, no. Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes, no. Yes, no? Are you saying yes? Okay, both gave wrong answer, incorrect answer. Folks, he was not an exception. Go check out all over the world. Anybody who's done anything, they all came from adversity, because you know the name Michael Phelps, don't you? See, he created history at Beijing. Now, you know he was a legend in swimming. But are you aware that 2 years prior to the Olympics, he fractured his hand? Did you know that? Okay. And the doctor said you can't get in the water anymore. Now, Michael Phelps was preparing for this event for a decade. He couldn't see his lifetime dream shatter. He told the doctor, I will get into the water. I won't use my hands, I'll use my legs. And he used his legs, continued. 2 years later at Beijing, he created history, won 8 gold medals. And now the press was there. One of the journalists asked him, Mr. Michael Phelps, you won 8 gold medals, must be a lucky day. Michael Phelps didn't like it. He said, you come here, I'll tell you how lucky I got. He said, in the last 4 years, I have trained 10,000 hours. And if you're good at maths, that translates into 2,500 hours per year. And if you're good at calculus, that translates into 8 hours per day, no Sunday. And he said, you go sit in the water for 8 hours every day for the next 4 years, your body will shrivel. And he asked, did I get lucky? He said, luck is not designed to deliver you these things in life. Too many crackpots keep waiting for a jackpot. It doesn't work that way. And he said one more thing, Sundar. He said, athletes train 15 years for 15 seconds of performance. Go ask them, did they get lucky? Are you with me, Ronnie? Athletes train 15 years for 15 seconds of performance. Go ask them, did they get lucky? Do you know this presentation that I'm doing tonight in front of you people right now in the Modnex and the MSOSA group here? Tell me, how long did it take me to prepare this presentation? Sundar, 45 years.
Yeah. Lifetime.
You know what people say? Must be lucky. Too many crackpots keep waiting for a jackpot. I repeat, remember the statement, too many crackpots keep waiting for a jackpot. It doesn't work that way. Now, was Michael Phelps an exception? Answer is no. Steve Jobs. But if you heard his speech at Stanford, his first sentence was, I came to this world unwanted. The day he was born, he was put up for adoption. He said, nobody wanted me. Now, Puneet, why am I sharing these examples with you? We lost our minds. We came on the street. I did not have $10. Now, why am I sharing all this with you? When you hear real life examples of Michael Phelps, Bruce Lee, and Steve Jobs, real life examples, they all have problems. They all had problems. It forces us to redefine the word success. Success is not absence of problems. It is overcoming problems. Are you with me? It is not absence of problem. It is overcoming. And why am I sharing this with you? Many of these people had much worse problems than you and I are facing today. Many of them had much, much, much worse problem than you and I are facing today. And remember, success is not measured by how high we go up in life. It is measured by how many times we bounce back when we fall down. That is success. Puneet, are you with me? You know something? We need to redefine the word success. Now, let me get into the last part is the lifestyle part. Folks, till the lockdown came in, all of us were in the fast lane. Everybody was in the fast lane. We had no time. Now look at this. What a paradox it is. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history, and yet we don't have what? We don't have time. You know why we don't have time? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And by the way, I'm not just lecturing here. I'm guilty myself. And when we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the interesting thing is, Rouhani, whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. If I have a crucial meeting tonight and if I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I'll land up in the hospital. See, you ignore what is important, it converts into urgent. See, in life, Sundar, relationships are important. but they're not urgent. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? We start talking to our lawyers. Are you with me? You ignore what is important, it converts into urgent. Now, what this crisis has done is literally made us step backwards a little and reevaluate our priorities. You ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. And who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. And that is true. Now, but what this crisis has done is made people step backwards and say, buddy, till now, I was running all right, but let me check, was I running in the right direction? Folks, what is the moral of this little story? The moral is very clear. In life, direction is much more important than speed. Sundar, are you with me? I repeat, in life, direction is much more important than
speed.
Okay, now, let me share with you a few steps how to overcome this crisis, which is what I shared earlier. Folks, about 45 years ago, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. As he came in, there were about 1,000 people. I was one of them. He looked at everybody and he said, you people appear so cool, calm, comfortable, it appears nobody here has a problem. Then he asked, does anybody here have a problem? Now, who doesn't have a problem? So everybody raised their hand, we got a problem. And then Dr. Peale asked, how many people would like to get rid of that problem? So again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, while I was coming here, I came across a place where I saw there were some people lying down, all relaxed, comfortable, cool. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there, all stretched out, relaxed. They have no problem whatsoever. So he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put in the hand in the pocket. Then Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'll be dead. And that day, and he said, when you're running short of problems, watch out. That's the time to get on your knees and pray to God, send me some problems, don't you trust me anymore. And that day, Dr. Peale gave a prayer, which in my opinion is the crux of life. It is called the Serenity Prayer. And in the last 45 years, I have never left my home without the prayer, never. And I've come across many adverse situations. And the prayer goes this way. Sundar, I will say once in English, once in Hindi, just in case it'll help anybody. It goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. I repeat, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, if you analyze this little prayer I dissect, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, the question is, Puneet, can we change everything in this world to suit ourselves? Answer is no. Can we manipulate and mold things to suit ourselves the way we want it? Answer is no. There are many things beyond us, such as I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, neither did you. If this is my height and the color of my skin, there is nothing I can do. Granted, some people are born deformed. And sometimes bad things happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? It says, Sundar, what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly, because many times in life, we keep fighting the things we just cannot change, and we bring stress into our lives, and we become paralyzed, and we become unproductive. It says, if I cannot change, let me accept it graciously. And two, if I can change, give me the guts to do it. And three, wisdom to know the difference. Now, when I wrote my new book, You Can Achieve More, I took this thought and took it 2 steps forward. And I wrote in my book that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. How is life full of choices? Sundar, hear this. If I ill-treat you, I have chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I have chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I have chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? If I drink and drive, I have chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? If I exercise every day, I have chosen to invite good health, haven't I? If I eat too much every day, I have chosen to be obese, haven't I? And Sundar, if I tell lies, I have chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? And if I tell the truth, I have chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? Ruhani, are you with me? Now hear this. We are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Puneet, are you with me, sir? We are all free to the point of choice, but after we made our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? As somebody said, well, in life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's our choice. Now, sometimes people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who fail, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is that people who succeed, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make anyone a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. Are you with me? And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. So what is success? Series of positive decisions in life is called success, and series of negative decisions in life is called failure. It is our choice that can be our biggest ally or it can be our biggest enemy. Are you with me? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is step one, how to overcome stress. Two, let me show you the number two. Second one is convert wasted time to productive time. There was a survey conducted in the US which said an average American watches 4 hours of TV per day. By the way, this was before the crisis. Right now, there are people watching 8-10 hours of TV per day. But before the crisis, the survey said people watch 4 hours of TV per day, average American. Now, it's not average American, maybe average European, Asian, Indian, Australian, they all watch it. So one person went to a friend and asked him, how much did this TV cost you? He said, this TV cost me $1,000. Ronnie, hear this. He said, my friend, you don't know how to calculate the money value of your time. He said, what do you mean? He said, how much money do you make in a year? He said, $100,000. He said, how many hours do you work per year? He said, I work 2,000 hours per year. He said, then your hourly rate is $50 an hour. And if you watch 4 hours of TV per day, that means $200 per day. Multiply 365 because you watch for the whole year. That comes to close to $85,000 per year. You know what? That is more than your EMI on $1 million home. Are you with me? That is more than your EMI on $1 million home. You don't know what the hell are you doing. This TV is not costing you $1,000. Folks, don't get me wrong. We all like to watch TV. There's a nice movie. It relaxes us. Don't get me wrong. But watching 4 hours a day, what the hell are you doing? You are wasting your life. Now, in the same book, I have mentioned one more survey that today, all over the world, globally, 85% of millionaires and billionaires are first generation. Sundar, did you know that? 85% of millionaires and billionaires are first generation. Only 15% coming from inheritance. And they were asked, how come you got so much financial success in such a short time? And here is what they answered. They said, we read books. How many books? 50 books a year. 50 books a year means 1 book a week. 1 book per week. Folks, Warren Buffett, if you go back and check on him, this guy every day reads 6 to 8 hours per day. Bill Gates is an avid reader. And they were asked, what kind of books do you read? And the answer was, we have no time to waste. We don't read fiction. We only read self-help books. You know why? Because they said, one good idea is worth $1 million. Are you with me? One good idea is worth $1 million. How many ideas do you need to succeed in life? Only one. And they said, we read 1 book a week. That means what? Multimillionaires and billionaires read 1 book a week. What does it tell us? There is a connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning. Learn more, earn more. But there are people unemployed, underemployed. They say, I have no time to read a book. Well, how will you get it anyway? Then they say, when I have the money, I'll get a book. You know something, you can get any book in this world today for free in a library, but they won't do it. And I've learned one thing, that a serious reader will never borrow or lend books, never. Many times people tell me, I got a new book. I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Either give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me, don't lend it to me. Why? I won't give it back to you. Why? Because when I read a book, I always underline, make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing. Reading a good book once is not good enough. I repeat, reading a good book once is not good enough. Now, there are books I've read 6, 7, 8, 10 times. Now, interestingly, Arrow Electronics, it's a $26 billion company in the US. They're my clients. During the pandemic, they celebrated one of the bumper quarters, $2 billion in sale, one of the highest quarter. And they celebrated the award function, and they invited me to keynote the address. I asked the managing director, how come you people are hitting such big numbers during crisis period? And he said to me, he said, you don't know, I attended your program 10 years ago, and you had a stall at the back. He said, I bought your entire stall. And he said, when I took over as managing director, we had only 2% market share. Today we have 20% market share. And he said, I bought a few hundred books because I have a team of a few hundred people. He said, I gave your book to everybody. And he said, we read your book every year. Every year. He said, I've read your book 20 times. And he said, if you ever forget a paragraph in your own book, call me, I'll tell you where it is. Folks, and there are people who tell me, I've read your book once. I said, you wasted your time and money. You have got nothing out of it. You got nothing out of it. Puneet, are you with me? Now, let me share something crucial. If during this crisis, if you have not upskilled yourself, Sundar, if you're not upskilled yourself or become more knowledgeable or become healthy and fitter, we cannot blame we have no time. Now, why I say this? Because the lockdown in India took place in March last year. I did my first webinar on 8th of April. Puneet, till 8th of April, I was learning to do SMS for my grandchildren. In my life, Ruhani, I have never done an email. I don't know how to do email. And I had never operated a computer laptop. I didn't know how to do it. Even now, I'm not an expert, but I learned how to operate the computer and the Zoom and all that little things. And you know something, from last year, April to now, this program that I'm doing for MSOSA right now, this is my 178th program.
Wow.
And by the way, we are paid for it. Price Waterhouse, the Deloitte, Kotek. I've done programs for NHS, in UK, all over the world, GSK, and they're paying us. And I'm giving out dates right now for February right now. I did not even know that we had a revenue stream that we had, which I never did. We've created a new revenue stream right now. So what has happened? I have upskilled, learned to use the computer, number one. Number two, I used to read about 30, 40 books at one time. I dropped the habit. I went back and I started reading my books again. Every day, Puneet, I put in 2 to 3 hours every day in reading a good book or listening to some good videos on the YouTube. I'm gaining more knowledge. And third, barring the last 6 months where I had pneumonia and COVID, prior to that, I lost 10 kilos of weight. I was exercising every day and I became fitter. Folks, I upskilled, I'm getting more knowledge, learning more, and I'm becoming healthier and fitter. Now, if you don't do that, we cannot say, I didn't have the time. We have all the time in the world. Don't you see that? Convert wasted time into productive time. Okay, number three. Folks, to overcome, turn setback into comeback, build strong relationships in life. Folks, our biggest asset in life is not our bank balance. It is our relationship balance. Have you noticed one thing? That people who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Are you with me, Sundar? People who have good relationship, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. And when we talk of relationships, we talk of what? Personal, professional, and social relationships. And nowadays, in many business schools, which I address in many different parts of the world, they're teaching them how to network. They go join Chamber of Commerce, these MBA students, go join Lions, Rotaries, and go network. And you ask them, what the hell are you doing? I'm networking. And you ask them, why are you networking? Because I am building contacts. Why are you building contacts? Because he's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a cop, he's a politician. Someday he could be useful. Usefulness goes, friendship also goes. Are you with me, Puneet? Usefulness goes, friendship also goes. You know something? They have not learned the difference between building contacts versus building relationship. There is a big difference. Are you with me? There's a huge difference. Now, we have an office in Singapore. One evening I came from dinner and a man met me in the lobby and he asked me, Mr. Khera, you came from dinner? I said, yes. He said, you met some people tonight? I said, yes. And immediately he says, I hope you met some people who could be useful to you. I hope you met some people who could be useful to you. You see, I felt like giving him a piece of my mind and something else. This guy's meeting criteria for meeting people was what? Usefulness. What he can extract out of you. In my opinion, these are parasites, rascals, selfish people. They're only takers in life. Are you with me? They're only takers. You can never build relationship with people like that. You see, they don't understand one thing. Sundar, meeting good people in life is good enough. Usefulness is a byproduct of relationship. Are you with me? I repeat, meeting good people in life is good enough. Usefulness is a byproduct of relationship. I'll show you an example. If I have a friend who's been with me for 20 years as a friend, and tonight, if he has a problem, who's the most natural person he will go for help to? The friend of 20 years. He's not going to make new friends tonight. Is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. If I don't help him, am I behaving like a friend? No. But remember, helping a friend is the duty of a friend. It is never the purpose of friendship. Because if it is the purpose, that purpose finishes, friendship also finishes. I repeat, helping each other is a duty of a friend, but it is always incidental to friendship. It is never the purpose of friendship. Are you with me? And what builds a relationship? None of us is perfect. We all make mistakes. Therefore, You keep hearing the word that one should be tolerant. Sundar, one should be tolerant. Ruhani, do you agree that one should be tolerant? If you agree, do thumbs up. If you agree, do thumbs up. Okay. If you disagree, do thumbs down. Okay. You guys are not doing anything except Ruhani is the only one. I know you guys mentally did all thumbs up and all of you got the wrong answer. Folks, tolerant, in my opinion, is not a good word. The word is mutual respect. Hear this. Ruhani, I and my wife live together not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. The day respect for each other goes, you can't live together. Are you with me? You can't live together. So you know what the word tolerant, what it means? Postponing the blast. Employers and employees work long-term together, not because they can tolerate each other. They work long-term together because they respect each other. Are you with me? It is mutual respect, not tolerance. Tolerance means postponing the blast. And what keeps a relationship, what builds a relationship? It is our values. Our values match. You build relationship there. And we need to learn to give in life. You can't be a taker in life. And whatever I shared with you in the last 1 hour, Sundar, you addressed many business schools and other places. Tell me, any school in the world, what I just shared in the last 1 hour, any school, business school, anywhere in the world, which is talking and teaching all this stuff as part of curriculum, not one. Not one. But I had the Dean of James Cook University from Australia. They attended our program, and the guy says to me, he said, Mr. Khera, we want you to set up a leadership program for us in Singapore campus. So they have partnered with us now. They partnered with us, and we have created a program for MBA students, which is called Prepare Them, Don't Repair Them. Prepare them, don't repair them. If you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Okay. Second last item, and then I'm going to close this because I've already gone a little bit over time. Second last item, folks, to overcome any crisis in life, become a proactive person. And I look at all modernites are leaders. All modernites are leaders somewhere. Folks, become a proactive person. See, when we do our leadership program, the 4-day program, we ask people, are you a good person? And many times they say, yeah, I'm a good person. And you ask them, what makes you good? And the answer is, I don't do bad, so I'm good. And then they say, well, I don't tell lies, I don't steal, I don't cheat, so I'm good. So my answer to them is, I disagree with your answer. See, folks, not doing bad does not make a person good. If I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar. That does not make me good. If I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief. That doesn't make me good. Go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Ruhani, are you with me? Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Similarly, not doing bad does not make a person good. A person becomes good when they proactively do good. Now, why am I sharing this? My 35 years of doing leadership programs for Lufthansa, Johnson & Johnson, I've learned one thing, that a good leader is never neutral. Sundar, hear this. A good leader is never neutral. They take a stand for something and take a stand against something. And if you're neutral, you are a politician. Got it, Puneet? Puneet, hear this. A good leader always takes a stand for something, takes a stand against something. They're not neutral. And if you're neutral, you're a politician. Now, I was addressing a group of about 4,000 or 5,000 people once, and a man from the audience came up and he asked me, Mr. Khera, are you a Gandhian? So I learned one thing, that before you answer a question, you must clarify. And number two, sometimes the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, I said, sir, can you qualify? How do you define a Gandhian? What are the criteria of being a Gandhian? So he said, Gandhi believed in 3 principles. 1, he believed that with love you can win everybody. 2, Gandhi believed in the principle of tolerance. You got to be tolerant. 3, Gandhi believed in non-violence. Puneet, are you with me? He believed in non-violence. Then again he asked me, Sundar, are you a Gandhian? I don't know what came to my mind. I said, I've been living in the US 45 years, but I'm an Indian. And we respect the epics, the Bhagavad Gita, the Ramayana, Guru Granth Sahib. I've not read them, but I've heard them. So I don't know, Rouhani, what came to my mind. I just asked him, sir, can you tell me, was Ram a Gandhian? Now let us look at your 3 principles. 1, you said with love you can win everybody. Tell me, was Ram able to win with love everybody? Answer is no. So he failed the first test. 2, you said tolerance. Did Ram say I'm a very tolerant guy? You kidnap my wife, it's okay, I'll get a second one. You kidnap a second one, I'll get a third one. You kidnap a third one, I'll get a fourth. Did he say that? He said, no, I don't tolerate kidnappers. 3, you said non-violence. What did Ram do? He pulled out a weapon and he killed that guy. That is violence. Even for self-defense, that is violence. So I said, Ram failed all 3 tests. That means Ram was not a Gandhian. Ram didn't say, let's compromise. Let us come to the table. Let's compromise. Let's meet halfway. He said, shut up. He took a stand for something, took a stand against something. He didn't say I'm neutral. Who is saying with me? He was not a Gandhian. Why go that far? Go look at the life history of 10 Sikh gurus. The 10th Sikh guru, when the Mughals were forcibly converting people into Islam, what did the 10th guru do? Was he able to win with love? No. Did he say, I will tolerate your terrorism? He said, no. 3, did he pull out the weapon and he started fighting the Mughals? Answer, yes. So he was not a Gandhian either. And I said, you appear well-read in your epics. I said, show me in one of your epics where it says that when the enemy is auctioning the respect and dignity of your women and children, where does it say at that time you should go to the temple and do bhajan, kirtan and meditation? Damn it, that's the time to fight. Not fighting is stupidity and cowardice. And I told him, I said, I'm not a Gandhian. Hello, I am not a Gandhian. Puneet, are you with me? I'm not a Gandhian. Hear that carefully. And And folks, the last item I want to share with you, and more so because we have an Indian audience here, and this is very crucial. In order to overcome any crisis, turning setbacks, we need to accept responsibility. Stop playing the blame game. We need to accept responsibility. Now, faith gives strength, but blind faith leading to superstition weakens people. I repeat, विश्वास इंसान को ताकत देता है, अंधविश्वास इंसान को कमजोर बनाता है. Are you with me? अंधविश्वास कमजोर बनाता है. Now, why am I sharing this with you? One of the biggest damage done to India has been done by our media. Anytime you open the TV, what do you see? There is a Babaji, Guruji wearing saffron or white clothes with 3 tilaks here and 3 tilaks here. And what do you see is horoscope. And the guy says, नाम बोलो, कहां से बोल रहे हो बोलो, जन्म तिथि बोलो, टाइम बोलो, गुरुजी मालूम नहीं. Don't worry, he has a laptop and he does tick 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 tick. And तुम्हारा शनि गुरु पे दूर पे है, गुरु तीसरे पे बैठा, तीसरा चौथे घर पे बैठा, चौथा पांचवें घर में बैठा. And then he says, you are मंगीत. And then he says, wait a minute, तुम पे शनि चढ़ गया, शनि चढ़ गया, शनि चढ़ गया. Now the guy is scared. बोले उतारने का उपाय ये है, he says, एक काला रुमाल लीजिए, उसके अंदर काली दाल डालिए, फिर उसके ऊपर काला काजल लगाइए, काले बाल वाला खोजो, 7 बारी खोपड़ी पे घुमाओ, उसके बाद काला कुत्ता खोजो, काला बर्तन खोजो. Hello, this is what is going on. Do you know people are doing all this? PhD, MBAs are doing all this stuff. Now, I have a big question to you. If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, Shani in, Shani out, if it is so easy, why don't we send Shani to Pakistan and destroy all the terrorists? Hello? If it is so easy to get Shani in, Shani out, why don't we send Shani to Ladakh to fight the Chinese? यार मैं पुनीत आपसे एक बात पूछना चाहता हूं, शनि परमानेंटली इंडिया क्यों रहता है यार? शनि नेवर गोज टू ऑस्ट्रेलिया. हेलो रोहानी, मुझे बताओ, शनि नेवर गोज टू न्यूजीलैंड. व्हाई डजंट ही गो टू इंडिया में बैठा हुआ परमानेंट? व्हाई एम आई शेयरिंग दिस विद यू? बिकॉज इफ यू रीड द लाइफ हिस्ट्री ऑफ स्वामी विवेकानंद, स्वामी दयानंद, गुरु नानक, they never believed in all these things. In fact, they fought against it. Guru Nanak fought against superstition. Do you know, in the Sikh families, they never tell you horoscopes. There is no mangnik. There is no shubh muhurat for a wedding. Do you know, every wedding for a Sikh family takes on a Sunday. Sunday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Saturday. Saturday doesn't sit right, they do it on a Friday. Why am I sharing this with you? People go chasing, running. I saw one guy wearing 10 rings, different stones, 10 rings on all 10 fingers. And I said, maybe on your feet, you got another 10 fingers. God knows. And they go to these Babajis, Gurujis, Maharaj, Swami and all that. They touch their feet. This guy should be in jail, man. What's the matter with you? You know why I share this with you? Once I was going to the airport and the driver hit the brake so hard, the car came to a screeching halt. I asked him, भैया क्या हो गया? बोले साहब बिल्ली रास्ता काट गई. मैंने पूछा भैया अब क्या होगा? कहता सर गाड़ी रोक देता हूं, अपशगुन है, नुकसान हो जाएगा. I told him, I said, कि मेरी फ्लाइट मिस होगी तो बहुत नुकसान हो जाएगा। आई आस्क्ड हिम कि भैया कब तक गाड़ी रोकोगे? कहता है कि जब तक कोई दूसरा नहीं निकल जाए। मैंने कहा उसका नुकसान हो जाएगा? कहता दैट्स हिज प्रॉब्लम। ही डिडंट हैव, कहता दैट्स हिज प्रॉब्लम। तो पुनीत, मैंने उसको एक और बात पूछी, मैंने कहा सपोजिंग यू आर 15 yards before and supposing the cat had crossed the road and supposing you had not seen the cat, in that case you would have just been gone straight and you would have been the first car at that time. फिर क्या होता? रूहानी इसका जवाब सुनने वाला है। कहता है साहब उस हालत में बिल्ली की पावर कम हो जाती है। हेलो जानते हो, आप हंस रहे हो, पढ़े लिखे पीएचडी एमबीए यही कुछ कर रहे हैं साहब। मैं आपको एक कागज दिखाना चाहता हूं सुंदर, ये लिखा हुआ है सुपरस्टिशन। दिस इज एन आर्टिकल फ्रॉम इंडिया टुडे, January issue of 2018. It says here, because of superstition and astrology, in many parts of India, natural childbirth has gone down by 80%. And they have quoted here, Madras, Bangalore, Hyderabad, South India. You can Google it, you guys are good at it. 80% of childbirth in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Madras today are done through C-section operation. You know why? Some astrologers said this is good omen, right time to pull out the kid from the womb. Hello? ये कर क्या रहे हो आप? Folks, I share one thing with you. Life, Puneet, does not always go up, 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 up. Life is a roller coaster, up and down. Yes, no. Okay. Now, when we have a down, all of us have a down. When there's a down, Ruhani, what do people do who are responsible, who are getting somewhere? They analyze and they ask, if a similar situation came again, will I behave the same way? If the answer is yes, that means you have not learned anything. They learn from it and accept responsibility, and they don't repeat their mistakes. But a person who's not getting anywhere, when things go wrong, instead of accepting responsibility, you know what they say? My stars are not favoring me. They don't learn anything, and they keep repeating the same mistake again and again and again, and they say, I'm unlucky. Why am I sharing this with you? Do you know there are people, they go by the lakhs and thousands to Babajis. Babaji kya kare, Babaji kya kare? Ek Baba कहता है बेटा प्रीत करो, प्रीत करो, प्रीत करो. दूसरा बाबा कहता है हनी करो, हनी करो, हनी करो. एक बाबा हनी प्रीत मिक्स करके बेच रहा था वहां पर बैठ के. What a joke. I just want to close this with one thing, because in one of my previous programs, one person asked me a question. He said, there are people who go to temples and they wait in line for 10, 12 hours. Is that faith or blind faith? Is that vishwas or andhvishwas? 12 घंटे वेट करते हैं दर्शन के लिए. Are you familiar? So he asked me, is that faith or blind faith? So my answer was, I said, sir, I pray every day. Why do I pray? Because I believe in God. Why do I believe in God? Have I seen God? Who is God? Where is God? What is God? Do I have answer to these? Answer is no. So if I have no answer to these, who is God? Where is God? What is God? If I don't have the answer, is that blind faith? So here is my answer. Now then, if I don't have the answer, why do I believe in God? I believe in God because In this universe, the planet, the sun, the moon, the flora and the fauna, everything that is there, there are so many things that are unexplained. And anything that is unexplained could be either a miracle or a mystery. I don't know what it is. But this entire universe, planets, forests, flora, fauna, animal, anything, this is not work of any human being. Not work of any human being. And it is certainly a superhuman job. And if it is superhuman, there's got to be a superpower. And that superpower, I call it God. That's all. That's my explanation. But in the last 45 years, barring 4 or 5 times, I have never gone to any temple. And I feel very strongly that 90% people who go to temples, they go there more out of fear than out of faith. ये नहीं करोगे ये हो जाएगा, ये नहीं करोगे ये हो जाएगा, ये नहीं करोगे ये हो जाएगा. Are you with me? We have to, as modernites, all of us, we need to look at Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, Guru Nanak, and we must spread the word. We must fight it. You can't let the country go to dogs. And folks, I just want to close this with one thing. Now, this is time to give back to society. We are blessed. We live in a good home. We have good food, but there are many people who don't have it. Now, there is one community, and I'm very proud of it. There is one community who has been honored all over the world by the government of Canada, United States, UK, Australia, New Zealand. Every government in the world has honored one community, only one community in the world for the humanitarian service. Guess which community is that? It is the Sikh community of India. They've been honored all over the world. Sundar, did you know that?
Yes.
Okay. They've been honored everywhere for the humanitarian service. You know why? Millions of people are getting free meals. The concept of langar is not new. It goes back 550 years ago. Guru Nanak started it. Now, because the Sikh philosophy goes in 3 pillars, they're caring people, they care. They're sharing people, they share. And they're daring people, they dare, they're willing to fight. And the Sikhi stands on 3 principles. It says Nam Jap, one Chak, Kirat Kar. Nam Jap is, there is only one God, which is formless God. And 2, one Chak is the concept of sharing. And Kirat Kar is the concept of dignity of labor. Work hard, make an honorable living. Sundar, in your life, have you ever seen a Sikh beggar anywhere in the world? You know, you'll never find it. You know why? They will clean your shoes, they will clean your bathroom, they'll clean your toilet, but they won't beg. This is not ego. This is dignity of labor. Nothing is small if you make honest living. Are you with me? Nothing is small if you make an honest living. This is called dignity of labor. This is not ego. And in Sikhi, there is no caste. Do you know every Sikh man, last name is a Singh. There is no other last name. And every Sikh woman, the last name is a Kaur. There is no other last name. There is no caste. I wish in India, if we had adopted a Sikh philosophy to run this country instead of our own constitution, this country would have been totally a different country. Yeah. Folks, with those words, I wish you all the best. I know I have gone way over time. I apologize, but I want to hand over the mic back to you, Sundar, and wish you all the best. God bless you. Stay well. Someday we'll meet up with you people, and would love to have the telephone numbers of all the people on the window. Just send that across to me, Puneet and Sundar. Thank you, sir. Take the mic, please.
Shiv, you have to answer a few questions. Arunima?
Yes. Thank you, sir, for an absolutely inspiring session. It has been wonderful to actually listen to all your thoughts, to listen to all the ways we can actually take in the philosophies of different cultures, of different leaders, and turn setbacks into comebacks. The 2 years of the pandemic have been a setback for all of us, for people as a whole, for every community, emotionally, physiologically, mentally. And I think one of the major setbacks we've all struggled with is the loss of control. We've lost control over the kind of circumstances we're in, the kind of ways we're working, or even loss of control. Like you said, people are watching TV 8 hours in a day. So there is a sense of inertia, a sense of loss of control, which actually brings me to my first question, which is from Jagmeet Singh, batch of 1976, who wanted to ask you is that, don't you think setbacks are the best thing possible a person can experience, and how our mindsets can be trained to view setbacks or adversity in that way?
Okay, well, that's a very common question that comes through. How to turn a setback into a comeback. Many times, people ask me that when people go through a leadership program, or they read a good book, or when they go through any kind of a program like this, they get motivated, they get charged up. But then for how long? For how long will it last? That's the next question. How long will it last? How do you sustain all this stuff? See, Arunima, I have a question to you. Arunima, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, my question to you is, when an athlete stops practicing, tell me, what happens to his stamina? Does it remain the same or go down?
Obviously, it has to go down.
So it goes down, it doesn't remain the same. So similarly, to remain on track, you said, how do you take control? How do you stay in control? How do you keep moving in a situation which is beyond your control? How do you stay positive in a situation like this? Look, externally, many things, we're in a turmoil, we don't know how to handle that. But the only place we can handle is our own mindset. Our own mindset. I can't do anything beyond it. So how do you remain positive in a negative world? Motivation is like fire. Unless you keep adding fuel, it dies out. Let me ask you, the food that you ate yesterday, how long did that last? The bath that you took yesterday, how long did that last? You know something, if we don't take a bath every day, what happens? We start stinking. See, just the way our bodies need food every day, our minds need positive thoughts every day to stay on track. Otherwise, we become mentally sick. People ask me, do you get demotivated? Answer is yes, I do get demotivated too. Then they ask me, what do you do? I said, I read my book. You know something? This is true. And many times people say, my willpower will do the job. Sorry, willpower does not do the job. Willpower is like a battery. You need to keep charging every day. When you go from home in your car, you get your tank filled completely. You get your tank filled completely. Do you wait for the tank to get empty before you get it fill up again? No, you get it done when you have quarter or half done. You don't wait till it's empty. Similarly, you don't wait for your willpower to drop completely, then recharge. No. So, same thing. You need to feed your mind on a daily basis to stay on track. Otherwise, we all slip back. Just the way your battery discharges and dies, our motivation also keeps going down unless you keep feeding on a daily basis. This is the only way. There is no other way.
Thank you, sir. You said today during the session that, which is actually one of my favorite quotes, that winners form a habit of doing things that losers don't like to do. And that kind of brings us to the second question from Manmohan Sadana, who asked that the topic of today's talk by you is turning setbacks into comebacks. Don't you think the action plan to this topic lies in your statement? Winners don't do different things, they do things differently. Could you elaborate with an example?
Why? I gave a couple of them. See, when I said, people ask, what do they do differently? One, they form the habit of doing things losers don't like to do. Folks, if we have to think to do the right thing, we can never do it right. It must come automatic. It must become reflex action. It must become reflexes. Then only can we do it right. You see, there are many studies for it. Some studies earlier, which has changed now, I believe. See, it used to say any behavior you practice, it takes 21 days of conscious, continuous effort to make or break a habit. Make a good habit or break a bad habit. Now, then they said, well, 21 days is not good enough. 31 days you need. Now, latest research says you need 66 days of conscious, continuous effort to make or break a habit. Make a good habit or break a bad habit. Now, let me ask you, no matter what it is, even if it is 66 days, tell me, conscious effort for 66 days, if it could change your life, is it too much of a price to pay? But you know something? People don't want to do it. You know, most people want to succeed, but very few people are willing to pay the price to prepare to succeed. Ruhani, hear this. Most people want to succeed, but very few people are willing to pay the price to prepare to succeed. Let me ask you, are you willing to do 5,000 punches per day? If you and I are willing to do it, you know something? You and I will become legend like Bruce Lee. Are you willing to practice 10,000 hours in 4 years, 8 hours per day? If you and I are willing to do it, do you know we will also create history like Michael Phelps? Are you with me? But you know something? You and I are not willing to do it. So most people want to succeed, Arunima, but very few people are willing to pay the price to prepare to succeed. So it is simple, but not easy. I repeat, it takes discipline, which very few people have it. The athlete who goes to the Olympics, does he want to practice every day? No, but he does. So you got to make it into a habit. Reflexes have to move that way. Are you with me? Okay. Last one.
Last question. It actually stems from what you spoke about stress, because in psychology, there's a concept of eustress and distress, where eustress is the good stress that you need to have in life to be motivated. So the third question is from Khushbu Sharma, who is from the class of 2015. And she is asked, how can one see an opportunity to reassess their priorities and work on their weaknesses during a crisis situation? And how do you deal with the stress of that entire situation?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
How can one see an opportunity to reassess their priorities and work on their weaknesses during a crisis? And how do you deal with stress during the crisis?
Okay. Well, I shared a bunch of things in terms of handling stress. Keeping one thing in mind, stress is good. And you, as you said, use stress and the other stress. Two kinds of stress, the positive and the. But the important thing is that, see, all stress is not bad. It helps us to perform. And the only way to handle stress, in my opinion, is we cannot avoid stress. We can only manage stress. That's all we can do. And as I said, stress is not bad. We can all handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. When stress becomes chronic, that is the time we start breaking down. And the only way is mentally condition yourself. We need to mentally condition. Think about it. I repeat one more time. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? You know what? It's our attitude. It is our attitude. In my new book, You Can Achieve More, my first sentence says, a person with a positive attitude cannot be stopped. And a person with a negative attitude cannot be helped. You can't help them. And at the back, it says, if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. I repeat, if you want to stand out, you need to do something outstanding. And many times when people see a success story, you know what they say? Must be lucky. Now, must be at the right place at the right time. You know something? This is an incomplete statement. Not only do you need to be at the right place at the right time, but you need to be the right person at the right place at the right time. If you are not the right person, you could be at the right place at the right time and get nothing in life. And this is still incomplete. Not only do you need to be the right person at the right place at the right time, but you need to do the right thing at that time. Because if you don't do the right thing, you could be the right person at the right place at the right time and get nothing. So look, ups and downs are going to come to all of us. We need to condition ourselves. It is mental conditioning. Mental conditioning. How do you bring mental toughness? Have you noticed there are some people mentally tough, very tough? How do you build mental toughness? You build mental toughness exactly the same way as you build physical toughness. Can I go and pick up a dumbbell of 20 kilos and do 50 reps? Man, I'll fall sick. Can't do it. But I can pick up a dumbbell of 5 kilos and do 50 reps, no problem. And gradually keep increasing as you go along. And as you build strength, there will be a time when you'll be able to pick up a dumbbell of 20 kilos and do 20 reps at that time. You know, the saddest part is that many times we people want to become a positive person overnight. It won't happen that way. It won't happen that way. Just the way you can't pick up a dumbbell of 20 kilos and do overnight, same thing. Don't try to become a positive person overnight for the rest of your life. Tell your mind, I'm going to be positive for the next 5 minutes. Stretch it. 5 minutes is a lot easier. Stretch it to 10 minutes. Stretch it to 15 minutes. Gradually keep stretching. Now, sometimes people say, but you know, thoughts come. They just keep coming and they crowd here. Can you choose your thoughts? In fact, one time, I was invited to address the Cancer Society, people who were terminally ill, how to think positive. That was one of the toughest assignment, Arunima, that I faced. How do you tell a terminally sick patient, cancer patient, where the doctor said, pack your bags, you're going upstairs? And I tell them to be positive. I was thinking, how do you choose your thoughts? My elder daughter, who's, I think I respect her knowledge, she said, Dad, what's the matter? I said, how do I talk to these people and they should choose positive thoughts? She said, Dad, sit down. I'll tell you how to choose your thoughts. Hear this, Arunimika, this is phenomenal. She said, Dad, supposing you go to a restaurant and you are a vegetarian and you order a dish for a vegetarian sandwich. And 10 minutes later, the waiter brings a plate of chicken sandwich. And she said, Dad, what will you do at that time? You are a vegetarian. He didn't bring what you said. He brought chicken sandwich. What are you going to do? I said, I will call the waiter and say, come here. I didn't order this. Take it back and get me a vegetarian sandwich. She said, Dad, exactly the same way you choose your thoughts. When a negative one comes, you say, I didn't order this. Take it back. I didn't order it. Take it back. Get me a fresh positive one. Just the way you choose your sandwiches, that is exactly the same way you choose your thoughts. Are you with me? And you practice this long enough, you become a mentally tough person. It's not easy. It is simple, but not easy. It takes a lot of discipline. But that's about it.
Thank you so much, sir. These are the only 3 questions we have right now, but there are a few others that we might email you.
I wish I could do a 4-day leadership program for the entire modern school.
Maybe we'll get there, Shiv. We'll take that offer.
A 4-day leadership program for the whole school. I wish I could do that.
No. We'll get you to the school and we'll send you some questions, and there are quite a few, and we'll request you to answer them. Now, Puneet.
Yeah. But we've got some great comments on the chat, and I have some good takeaways from the seminar today. Be a good person, build positive relationships. Direction is more important than speed. So thank you very much on behalf of MSOSA, on behalf of the Modernite, and on behalf of the modern schools. I thank you so much for your valuable time and this enlightening session. Thank you, Mr. Shiv Khera, and thank you, Modernites and parents and students for attending this seminar. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you. I'll take your
Thank you,
leave.
Shiv.
Thank you, sir.
We'll catch up. I'll come and see you sometime.
Thank you.
Thank